If you're coming to New Zealand and you want to find geothermal, there are quite a few places you can view it and swim in geothermal wonders completely free of charge. In our videos, we visit a lot of geothermal in both Rotorua and Taupo. In our most recent video, we visited a geothermal resort and it was awesome. Hi, I'm Emily and welcome to my YouTube channel, Emily in NZ. I post every Friday about our adventures around New Zealand, so hit subscribe to see the latest video about working, living and exploring New Zealand. So there's some awesome paid places to find geothermal in New Zealand. A lot of these are in Rotorua and some in Taupo on the North Island. Places like Tipuna, Hell's Gate, Wairua Volcanic Valley and my absolute favourite, Wai-o-tapu. I highly recommend Wai-o-tapu. It contains Champagne Pool, which is the most photographed place in Rotorua, as well as the Lady Knox Geyser. But there's some awesome places to see free geothermal as well. The first one is Kerosene Creek in Rotorua. You can swim in this river. You can sit under a waterfall at temperatures of 38, 39 degrees. We really enjoyed it when we visited. You can paddle in the water. It is really quite warm and amazing to think that this is completely free. You drive down a bit of a gravel road to get there. It's around the logging area. It's completely safe. The council know it's a place that people go to swim. You'll see a few people. It's free parking, free to get in, free everything. It's not attended and it is a natural beauty. One thing to note when going to these geothermal sites, I don't send my small children, who are currently 3 and 4, into the water. We just have a paddle. You have to be careful with amoebic meningitis. It's something that can be found, it's rare, but can be found in the water, particularly at these temperatures. There are signs that say, do not put your head under. It gets in through your nasal passages, and with my children being so small, they will be very excited to put their head under. If you go to public ones, most of the time they are filtered or they're chlorinated, but do make sure to ask. If it's free, it's very likely it's not filtered, certainly not chlorinated, and 100% natural. If you don't want to have a swim and you just want to look at these amazing geothermal wonders, I recommend Kuirau Park in the middle of Rotorua Centre. Again, completely free of charge, free parking. You can walk around and there are 20, 25, 30, depending on the season, depending on what's erupted recently, bubbling mud pools, bubbling pools, little geysers, and there's even an area you can paddle in the middle. Highly recommend it. Certainly when you arrive in Rotorua, stop and have a look at this park. It's a public area owned by the council, but it changes regularly. We visit 3 or 4 times a year, and sometimes one little hole has blown up and appeared somewhere else, or another one has dried up, and it's really interesting how Mother Nature changes things. Earlier, I recommended Wai-o-tapu as a geothermal wonder that's worth paying for. Round the back of Wai-o-tapu, there's a place called the Bridge. So driving towards Wai-o-tapu and driving on the way out is the bridge, which you can go for a swim in. It's completely free of charge. You don't need to pay to go into Wai-o-tapu, so you could just head over there with this in mind. And you can paddle, you can swim, and there's a cold river that meets a hot river. It's really interesting. And again, temperatures of 37, 38 degrees Celsius, but some cooler areas because the cold water is coming from the other stream. Also near Wai-o-tapu is the Wai-o-tapu mud pools. These are just on the way out. Also, you cannot swim in these. They are fenced off. They are very hot, very muddy, and depending on how much rain there's been, depends on how bubbly they are. They will always be bubbly, but sometimes they're better than others. So check out how the mud pools are looking when you visit. Another one in Rotorua, if you don't want to go for a swim and just want to have a wander, is Sulphur Point. This is round the back of the Rotorua baths, which are well worth a visit, but can be a little bit pricey and not overly children friendly. But the Sulphur Point around the back is really interesting. It looks like the craters of the moon. You can walk around and go for an explore. Walking on the edges of Lake Rotorua is a really nice walk anyway, with all these little sulphur points that are popping up. And the smell, well, it smells like sulphur. Another area in Rotorua is Lake Tarawera. These are boat access only. We recently went in our boat video where we took our boat to Rotorua and went across Lake Tarawera. Tarawera is a volcano which erupted in the late 1800s and was one of New Zealand's biggest volcanic disasters, and it's still very bubbling in the area around. There's Hot Water Beach. If you go to the tourist centre, there are a few boats that are public, which you can get there. They might not run daily. There is definitely the duck tours, and there's a couple of water taxis that will go, and they will drop you off at Hot Water Beach, which is one where you dig a hole and you fill the hot water. But also, round the corner is Wairua Stream, which is another one where you can swim. Again, completely natural, and just keeping in mind with little ones, this one I thought was absolutely stunning. It was lovely and quiet. We parked the boat up and went for a swim in the area. I took my older son, who's 4. He was really respectful of the rules and didn't put his head under. He was also in a wetsuit because we'd been previously swimming in the lake, and it was far too hot to be needing to wear a wetsuit. Just under an hour south of Rotorua is Taupo. Taupo also has some geothermal sites. We recently went to the Lake Taupo Holiday Resort. Not free of charge, but I can highly recommend it as a geothermal resort with water slides and pools. But round the corner from there is Sulphur Park, completely free. Just off the shores of the Waikato River, which is heading down to the Hooker Falls, which is well worth the stop anyway, they have renovated the Sulphur Park area. Free of charge to park, free of charge to get in. You walk up to the area and you can go swimming in this hot area where the edge of the river meets the hot water. There's little waterfalls which you can sit in, areas to lounge. We visited for the first time in years last month and were really impressed by the renovations they've done and how they've made it accessible with toilets and bins, decked areas to sit and lounge, all completely free of charge and supported by the council. Heading up the North Island now to the Coromandel. The Coromandel has Hot Water Beach. Hot Water Beach is another geothermal site where you can dig a hole and sit in your hot water pool. From the sea, it will add the cold water and you can create an appropriate temperature pool for what you like. We stayed recently at the Hot Water Beach Top 10 campsite, which I did a video about. You can see that here. And I highly recommend the campsite. It's walking distance to the beach. You have to get the tide right 2 hours before and after low tide. It's completely free to go to, but can be very, very busy, particularly on the weekends and public holidays. And the final free geothermal site is on Great Barrier Island. We went many years ago before children, and you fly or get a boat to Great Barrier Island, so not very free. Once you get there, it's a really interesting place to go, and Great Barrier is worth exploring. Probably something you're not going to fit on your 2 to 3 week itinerary of New Zealand, but the Kaitoke Hot Springs is a 3-hour hike into the centre of the forest, and it's very rewarding when you get there. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that video helpful. I know when we first moved to New Zealand, we were seeking out the free geothermal to explore. It was really handy to be able to stop, look, go for a swim on our trip around New Zealand rather than committing to a full day. These places have free access and free parking. Please respect the facilities that the council have developed for us. They're a real opportunity and a real gem with New Zealand with sharing their geothermal wonders. I've got lots more videos coming up to help with your trip to New Zealand. I post every Friday, 6 AM New Zealand time, so hit subscribe and I'll see you in my next video.